The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 Beer Sports Talk, and a whole lot more. Episode number 340 on this October 16th, 2023. Tonight's show, as always, is brought to you by SeatGeek.com and the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today, and it saves up $20 on your first purchase. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their great articles and other podcasts, such as the Craft Brew Sports Podcast and the Rise of the Occasion, and what else? The Captain Luke Extravaganza. They're all on there at the Belly Up Sports. Thank you very much for listening to the podcast and watching on YouTube for each and every day from all of us here at 1420 World Headquarters. Dave, I was in the great from Thursday on. Last time we recorded, I was in the great city of Edmonton, our provincial capital, having a good time with my brother and his wife, and we had a really good time. Had probably drank a little more than we probably should have because the boy his boy was out with an ankle injury. He's okay now, just a bad bruise the whole bit, but it was a lot of fun.
I thought Dr. Brent called it broken.
It looked really broken. It looked really broken. And you look now, it better be fucking broke because he didn't play the next 2 fucking games. But whatever, it's one of those things. No, it looked broken. It looked bad. Like it was one of those things he couldn't walk on. He was walking
I'm glad for him.
He was walking by Saturday, but he never played for the rest of the week, and it was a little too dinged up to get the boot on and everything else. But Friday night, me and Mike went down to the hotel bar. Deanne went to Swifty Fest in Medicine Hat, and then her and Mike's better half, she decided to let the Redlinski boys have a night by themselves. We went down to the hotel bar and just sitting there, we were watching out of nowhere, we were watching the Colorado Stanford game, and it was a blowout in the first half, 29-0 or whatever it was. And Coach Prime, this is quite funny. Coach Prime was all high on his horse and smiling and being Coach Prime. And then by the end of the game, that pouty motherfucker, man, me and Mike couldn't stop laughing about him. Hoodie up, frowning the entire time. That guy, he's on my next like fuck off, and stay fucked off list. I couldn't believe it.
He likes leading from the front, doesn't he? And I didn't watch any of that game. It was a family night for me. I was keeping track of the score. Actually, that's not true. I checked the halftime score, and the Buffs were up by a shit ton, 29-0, 28-0. Not important. And but the next day, when I read the highlights on the Twitter machine, Shadur, his boy, was actually pimping his Instagram channel and trying to push some merch.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how that's going on at halftime. So that's what you get when you get a guy like that and the NIL deals, everything else, and being bigger. And remember, when we first talked about we're coming. Well, you know what, Colorado, you got it. You got this for a long time. Yeah, your program's doing very well. Yes, your program, you're still a 4-3 team, whatever it is. You're not going anywhere by any means. And then when Shadur's gone, probably like the more we get into this day, well, I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on this, but the more you get into this Deion Sanders thing and the Coach Prime and the Shadur thing, this looks like and smells like and the whole bit, it looks like a guy who's coaching his kids' high school team or his Pop Warner team or his Little League team, wants to make sure that his kids getting through the system unscathed and benefits from it more than anybody else. And that's what this looks like to me.
I'm going to 100% disagree with that. I think this is about money. It isn't about wins.
That's what I'm getting at. He's making sure Shadur gets all the money he can.
Well, it's not Shadur either. It's the University of Colorado Athletics as well, right? They were playing in front of family and friends the last 5 years. They've won more games this year than they have the previous 4 seasons, and people are talking about them, and the stadium sold out. Matt McConaughey and all these rappers who I don't know any of their Meek Mill, Drake.
Cedric the Entertainer was there on Saturday, on Friday night.
Fuck no,
bunch of guys that are past their prime, but whatever.
Well, and it's people I don't really know, right? And then it's become must-see TV for a bunch of people. And Colorado, the University of Colorado, has made their money back on that hire. So what are we talking about? Like, so Prime Time has delivered financially for the university. You can't turn around a program in 1 year, even though he kind of has, but they're not real. They're not a power, right? They're a tough out as opposed to
Well, even like even up here in Canada, they like that Stanford Colorado game. If this was 365 days ago, that would never have been on TSN. I think it was on TSN two on Friday night. They would have found something else to play. That game would never have been on in Canada. Never, never, ever, ever.
It might have been because it was the only game, right? Like there's
They would have
no
had a curling rerun. You know what what TSN does? Like it's just one of those things.
Yeah, on curling, yeah. But I understand what you're saying, but I'm not gonna besmirch that what's going on there because Primetime has delivered everything that he said he has. He's made them at least relevant. They're not a laydown, and the university has made more than enough money on 6 games than they have in the previous 10 years.
It's funny as we were sitting there watching the game, like we were kind of sort of watching because it was a blowout in the first half. There, we were sitting that, like I said, we were in that hotel bar, and there was this one of those. And you, I mean, I haven't been around that part of the world for a long time, like we talked about the other night, and you even further back than I have, up in Nisku, Alberta. But there was this girl at the hotel bar, and she was looking for some company. She wasn't a prostitute by any means, but she was looking for someone to buy her drinks, basically. Like, I don't want to get too deep into it, but she was very friendly, and me and Mike, we're both basically like I'm not married, but you know what I mean. Mike is married. We're closer to 50.
You're not looking for company,
and we're not looking for company, right? And this girl come up and do you want to play pool? I was like, no, I don't. Like I don't. Ask Mike. We're like, no, we're just watching the game. Like we weren't being rude. No, I'm good. I'm good. I said, I don't. She goes, why? Oh, I don't want to stand up and I'm watching the game. Like I wasn't being rude. But I said, oh, I'm good, thank you. Like this, can you like if
I don't
like,
know you a reason.
Like no, and I did. I said, watch the game. Sit with my brother, watch the game. And I wasn't being rude. I was like, but I was getting to that point. And
was the bar pretty empty?
It was, yeah, because obviously she's picking up me and Mike of all people, right? So she's just a couple of she found a guy to play pool with her. Let's put it that way. Whether the stick stayed hard all night long, who knows with that guy? But it was just a quite funny situation. And as she walked away, Mike goes, Jesus, he says that girl smelled like cocaine and sperm. I was like, fuck, did I laugh? Because Mike's a lot more
understated
and not as outspoken as I am. But when he said that girl smelled like cocaine and sperm, I was like, oh man, yeah. Good enough. And then like she tried to, yeah. We're like, no, we're good. It's funny when you get to a certain point in your life, you're like, I'm good. I don't even want to entertain. Like I'm not. I would never entertain it, but I'm not going to It didn't even cycle my mind. It's like, can you just not? Can you just not?
The poison cover band is next week, sweetheart.
Yeah, you don't need to be here. Yeah, it was quite funny. Cocaine and sperm. Fuck, I was like, oh, geez. Coming from Mike Redlinski's mouth, I was like, geez, should come from between my ears, not yours. But it was funny. But anyways, Dave, the NFL got going again this weekend. Week 6 kind of came and went basically right now as we're recording. You had the Dallas One Stars playing against the Los Angeles Chargers. Don't care what the scores, doesn't matter to me right now a whole bunch. But the big thing yesterday, there was a couple of games that were decided by officials late, and this becomes a thing. Remember, we had Tom O'Connor back on the show, and he said you don't leave in the judge's hands. This is kind of the same thing about leaving it in an official's hands. But when you have a game and you're getting to that point in the season where every win and loss matters a whole bunch more because it can a playoff spot and everything else, and players are getting hurt and on it goes. But you got a couple of games. One the San Francisco 49ers against the Cleveland Browns yesterday that got called. There was a late call. They said it was an aggressive hit on a defenseless receiver. And then last night in a terrible, terrible, terrible football game between the Buffalo Bills and the New York Giants, there should have been a penalty on a pass interference or a hold, or you could have called a number of things on that, and the call wasn't made. Dave, there has to be a little more control with officials in the NFL. I know, and actually, you know what? Let's change that. There has to be more knowledge, not just because it was players that were throwing their hands up. There was coaches throwing their hands up. There was broadcasters throwing their hands up. Fans throwing their hands up. Nobody knows what the fucking rules are. And I think that's the biggest problem is that we don't get to know what goes on. Like the layman for the passive football fan doesn't know what's going on. And then even when coaches are throwing their hands up and they don't know what's going on, does anyone actually know what's going on?
I don't think. Well, here's the thing. It's such a hard game to officiate, and I'm going to give the Stripes a. I'm not going to give them a pass. What I am going to say, this is a game that is played by such physical freaks that are moving so fast and are so strong and can do things that we can't even dream of. And then, so what I think is happening, you can throw a flag on every play, but they can't throw a flag on every play because, like, how does this game even pretend to exist if we're throwing a flag every single play? But you get down to the fourth quarter now, and on these little ticky-tack things that were being overlooked for the entire game. Now, because the game is on the line, now we're going to call it. It's like this. It's like a strike zone for an umpire working the plate, like
or a penalty in hockey, and you call in the first period, not the third.
But not the third. But it's reverse, and
Right.
that's the thing. In the NFL, it seems to me that it's the exact reverse. That was a great analogy, as putting it into the hockey sense. The penalties that aren't called with 5 minutes left in the third or in the playoffs in the third are now being called in the NFL. It's the reverse. And I can understand how frustrating it is. And it's not only the flags that are thrown, it's the flags that aren't thrown. And that really makes me scratch my head. I do not believe the fix is in. But it seems like some teams do get the benefit of the doubt more than other teams.
Well, that's what I was talking about with somebody, because was it last year or the year before when they said the games were scripted? Do you remember that whole conspiracy theory when that was coming across? And I watched that away. I mean, that's fucking stupid. There's no way.
Oh, that's for sure. The NFL has a good ad campaign with, I think, Jordan Peele is his name, where they sit around a table. Have you seen one of those ads?
No.
They're awesome. Look it up, but go ahead with your point.
But like there was that conspiracy theory a couple of years ago that everything was scripted in the National Football League, and on it goes. And then you see teams that get like you just said, benefit of the doubt, and they get the win here and there. Like the NFL wants, and not that the Buffalo Bills are a marquee team by any means, they're not. But they have one of the best quarterbacks in the league in Josh Allen, and the Bills have been touted to be one of those teams to go to Super Bowl and do some damage and on for a couple of years now. And then if they don't, then it's a loss of years for that franchise, right? So if they get those calls like they got last night, because there was a couple of them, yes, the Giants probably should have ran the ball instead of trying to pass it in fourth down and on it goes, but it kind of smelt a little bit like, they kind of want that team to win a little bit. But it works the other way on the other side of things, because what benefit does the NFL have having Cleveland win a game against the San Francisco 49ers? Because why wouldn't you want a team to stay undefeated? You know what I'm getting at?
For sure, and I'm not going to besmirch the officials in that San Fran game. Like, Cleveland defense played like holy shit. I actually watched that game. That was the game, one of the games I watched.
Well, McCaffrey was out for the second half pretty much, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Like, and also too, as far as Buffalo, the Giants, you don't think the NFL would prefer the Giants to be a force as opposed to Buffalo? Like, so
the Giants might have any stars.
But if they will if they win a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
So. I don't know the answers. I do find it odd, and I agree with you the whole time. And at the end of the day, that kicker from San Fran makes that field goal, they win.
We're not talking about this at all.
Right.
Well, maybe the missed call. That call I thought was kind of horseshit. So when it happened, like I basically just sat down from Edmonton there, and I just sitting there. And I was a little tuckered out, so I didn't know what I was seeing. But I was I didn't think that was a penalty. I thought it was an aggressive hit, but I didn't think it was a dirty hit. I didn't think the guy like he didn't and that's the thing about football. Well, all sports are that way. It happens so fast. Like everything is so fast, and these guys are just human beings, and they're aging human beings usually, and they have to make a decision right now. Pause, read, react. But the pause, read, react is that quick. Yeah, you can throw the flag a second and a half later, but that one, even to my stupid eyes, didn't look like a penalty right off the bat. And then when it was called a penalty, I was like, and then he watched it, and then they had the guy that whoever the guy is that Fox has, who the old referee who analyzed it, and he says it wasn't a penalty, and like everybody's like, it's like that's not a penalty, and then they went from a 4th and 10 to a first and 10 with the ball 15 yards down the field, on and on. We won't get into all because that's just nobody really gives a shit what we think about that, but it was a shitty call that turned the game around.
These penalties are punitive not because of the yardage, it's because of that first down, especially on a 4th down.
100%.
Right? Yeah. And I noticed yesterday as well, like in more than one game, these roughing the passer calls are starting to get absolutely fucking bullshit.
They've been that way for a couple, 3 years now, yeah.
Oh god!
And that once again, Dave. That once again, they're picking and choosing which quarterbacks get that call.
Yeah, Bills and Giants. Like the Giants got fucked over, and there was another game. I don't know which game it was. No, that was the Niners game. It might be the same call you're talking about, where the guy was jumping up to block the pass and came down and hit fucking Brock on the head with his hand. 15 yards in a first down. Like, fuck off. Like, he wasn't being malicious. He wasn't trying to hurt anybody. But when he came down after trying to block a pass and his hand hits the helmet, that shit has to change. It has to change because this isn't football.
Would it be better off, Dave? Like I know baseball does a little bit, hockey never does it, and I don't think football does it very often. Like maybe once in a blue moon. I'm excuse me, like tell me if I'm wrong, which you don't mind doing. Would all sports be better off if they made officials accountable and had some media availability after every game? Say, okay, what did you see here? Okay, what did you see that maybe we didn't? Like, tell us what you saw, because what we saw. I mean, it's shitty because like by the time the interviewer or the reporter gets a fucking chance to ask the official what he might have saw, the official hadn't had a chance on his own to see the replay. Right.
I think the only
should media availability be made to officials in all sports as soon as the game's over, or give the officials 10 minutes to see whatever the controversial call might have been. Because in general, you're not going to talk to a ref ever unless something was called for whatever reason.
I remember we talked about this for a while back. And I mentioned that might be a thing to do. Like, just have a closed door meeting with each coaching staff and the head of officials. Like 30 minutes after the game. So heads could, like, both sides can watch the tape. And then
cooler heads might prevail. And okay, here's what I saw. And then there's explanation.
And supervised and behind, like, and no media. This is it. And then people can say what they want afterwards. No, we had to talk. I understand what they were looking at. They can come out of the room, the coach, and can say, we discussed it. We're gonna continue to disagree on this one. Because that's the thing. No one wants to, especially these people that are at the peak of their profession, their profession, the coaches, the players, the officials. So they're at the peak, right? You don't get any better than that by your pay scale in the games that you're officiating. And then you're not going to want to admit you're wrong much, but at least you can fucking hash it out and yell and call each other C-bombs and pieces of shit. And then at least it's out of your system. And then you may or may not have a better repertoire with the official, with the coach, and the coach with the player going forward.
Do you put them in front of the media?
No. Never.
Because people are stupid. So yeah,
And because people are stupid, you're going to splice it for
clicks
for
for your own
clicks.
benefit and everything else. Yeah.
Right. No. This is not for media. I would like I would like the coaches or staff or something like that to have closed doors meetings with officials after games, but I don't think officials should have to answer to the media.
Because it would be pretty tough because then you're admitting things on it goes. It would be a bad look, I think, just to make that all one. It's tough. It's obviously a tough thing.
Right. For every CBS sports announcer there, you're going to have 8 guys from 1420 and 2 Dudes with Sports with their iPhones up there asking questions too, right?
Yeah, and then we'll talk about like this. We make it a click, and then people will grab onto that, and who knows? But yeah,
Right.
it's tough. It is tough. Like being an official is tough, and it gets especially late in games. Like if those calls aren't made, like those 2 calls that I brought up are made, aren't made in the first quarter, you kind of forget about them. But it's late in the game and it's impactful, and every call is impactful, but some are more impactful than others when it comes down to like late in the game, right? It's just the way it works out. But if you look at those 2 calls that weren't made and were made yesterday, they were late in the game, so that's why it gets the spotlight. If it was, I may have never even watched it, never saw it, so we're not even talking about it. So it's a tough situation for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it could be in the first quarter, a punt gets returned for a touchdown, and there was a blocking in the back that they missed. So now instead of 7 points, like now it's 1st and 10 from the 15. It's these are huge swings, and they get missed all the time, and they can't be everywhere. Like, I don't know what an NFL officiating crew is. Like, I want to say 6 or 7 people, but
that's the guys. I'd like to be the guy in the sticks in the side, eh?
That's not an official. You're just holding it. You're just a stick holder.
You're an official. You're a game day official. That's
a good gig. That would be like, well, you don't know it's a good gig. You get
what the fuck? Or you get ran over on the sidelines. It might not be
because you can't watch the game really. You're watching the action, but then if you like,
but is there 2 sets of sticks? There's got to be one on either side.
No, there's only sticks on one side. They have first down.
Oh, they got to change that up.
But and that's ridiculous to me, and it always in today's
that there is even sticks.
Well, no, like the chain, right? So you're bringing this chain down and you're putting it down on the ground, and you're short by a chain link. Well, fuck. How do we know where he put the stick down was the right spot, right?
How do we know where this was and that was and this and that and everything? Fuck, it's especially with GPS.
At the end of the day, the referee is lining it up with his eye. You
hit a few buttons on a fucking card. It'll take you right there, right?
Line of scrimmage is right about here. Right about here.
Yeah.
Right? And then they're short by 2 millimeters. Turnover on down.
Yeah, it's done.
Really?
Yeah. You hit a few buttons on your phone, it transfers to your car, you have a nap, and it takes you where you got to go. NFL, some guy in chain goes, yeah, it was right around here.
The chain gang blows me away.
I don't really know.
But, I don't know. I don't know. And it adds to the pageantry of the sport. So, what do you
Dave, it's starting to get down, like get into week 6. Week 7 kind of is when things start really shaking down. By week 8, you know who's kind of is probably in the playoffs and who's not by that point. There are some surprises that happen. The NFL's, I think it's one of not the most anticlimactic sports, but you get to a point where you're like, yeah, that team sucks. They ain't making her. Who's your biggest surprise right now in the National Football League?
Well, I remember talking about it last week before, like on Thursday, when my Broncos were thankfully not getting their asses handed to them, but just being dominated by Kansas City. And I was saying it's a bunch of fucking dogs this week. But you know what? The dogs came out and bit. Cleveland beating San Fran. I think that was a surprise game. The Jets beating Philly. I think that's even more surprising.
First time ever.
Yeah.
First time ever.
That the Giants beat Philly?
No, that the Jets beat Philly. First time ever.
I didn't even know that.
I didn't either until I read it earlier on this afternoon.
The Giants giving Buffalo a game, but you know what? The one game I would like to look at was maybe it's time for Bill Belichick to talk about retiring. He just lost to the shitty Raiders, just to a shitty protege, and that's
We talked about that a week ago, right? Probably right about now, that maybe old
yeah.
Billy Belly should say, you know what? Go up to Bobby Kraft and say, yeah, it's time. It's time, because I'm an embarrassment. This team's an embarrassment. I'm not having any fun. This sucks. I got quarterbacks taking fucking safeties, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? That team is awful, and Belichick is, like we said, fans have short memories. They have very short memories. It's what have you done for me lately? And it's been a few years since they won a Super Bowl there, and they ain't winning one this year, and they ain't winning one next year. And so Belichick, he might be better off just to say, hasta la vista, say sayonara or whatever it is, and I'm done.
That might be a game where they can just say, like, yeah, it's fucking time. Like, I feel, well, I don't feel bad because like
I don't feel bad. He could have retired the same time Brady left. Really,
and there's so many goddamn fair weather Patriot fans out there, right? Like, now's the time, buy cheap, because you can get some Patriot gear for fucking cheap, because all these kids that were like 10 to 15, all they did was see the Patriots win.
hats, jerseys,
yes, exactly. Like, welcome to the goddamn club. You saw your club win, and now what are you going to do with all that fucking Pat gear? You're not wearing it out anymore, so there's going to be a lot of goodwill Patriot gear out there in the next 5 to 10 years. I'm positive about that.
That's a bit of a surprise how quickly that team has fallen apart. Like that, because we've been told so long for how great Belichick is, and the mind that he had, and on, blah blah, and how it goes. And it is a surprise to me how the mighty have fallen so quickly.
Exactly. You know, it was interesting to me too. Like, I didn't know if it was all Tom Brady or all Bill Belichick, but it appears to me now, and I can say this with confidence, it was 80% Tom Brady, 20% Bill Belichick.
The biggest surprise to me, and I hope it doesn't fall apart, because the friend of the show, Lou Gamlin from the Captain Lou Extravaganza, he's from out in Michigan. He's a big Detroit Lions fan, and I don't want to say that the Lions are a surprise, but when the Lions are good, it's a surprise, because it hasn't happened in my lifetime.
The very statement you just made, when the Lions are good. Yeah. I can't remember the last time. I think it was Wayne Fonts.
And so are they the biggest surprise in football right now? Because they're good. They're actually good. 5-1 right now. They're good.
They're 5-1. No one else is like
they have because everybody's touting the praises of Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. They have the same record as the fucking Detroit Lions, right? And the Detroit Lions play in a division that's not as good, obviously, but you know what? You can only play you can only beat who you play. And so the Lions are, I don't say are they a surprise? Yes. Can it last? Who knows? Have we ever seen it? No. But the 5-1 Detroit Lions are playoff bound for the first time in a long time, I think.
I'm more than happy to jump on that bandwagon. They've been the bottom feeders forever in the NFC North. They're having to deal with Green Bay forever. I'm going to just say Green Bay, because Minnesota is going to make noise and get the second seed, because they get to beat up on the Bears and the Lions every year too. But Minnesota can't beat up on them anymore, because there's something wrong there. They don't have Justin Jefferson anymore for a couple weeks. They're in trouble. The Lions are 5-1, and it's an exciting team to watch, and I want to see them do well. And it's nice to see a perennial dog
finally
squirrel
find a nut. It's nice to see a blind squirrel find a nut.
That squirrel has found the nut, and I'm here for it. Like, my NFC team this year, I'm gonna get behind the Detroit Lions. I'm gonna try and find that picture of me as a like a 4-year-old in my Detroit Lion pajamas that
Like,
my
I don't
aunt
know
bought
I
me.
don't know who they got left, but I want to see them get 6 more wins. Then Lions fans can kind of breathe a little bit, so they'll be in the playoffs. So it's
Look, at this rate, they're going to host a playoff game,
yeah,
like
and
for
that's
sure.
and it's
And
small victory like that. Biggest frauds in football, Dave. Here it is. The biggest frauds in football has nothing to do with the National Football League. It is my University of Southern California Trojans. I look forward to that Notre
Wait.
Dame game every year, and I've had the good fortune to have been to 3 or 4 of those over the years out in out in Los Angeles, and I had a feeling for a while now that this USC team who just squeaked by Arizona, squeaked by Colorado, I had a feeling that this team was going to lose. I didn't think they were going to lose as bad as they did on Saturday. Caleb Williams, Heisman Trophy went out the fucking window through 3 interceptions in the first half. They got smoked 48-21. I think the final was. What a downer! And that's the one thing about college football. That's the only team I actually follow in football. They're done. There's nothing left for me to watch. It's like I'll watch and it's on, but as an invested fan, it's done for me. And that game was awful. That team is fucking terrible.
They're right fucked, right? Because we've said it before. I've always believed the Pac-12 gets a little bit overranked, and now it's starting to prove itself. I don't know when they play. It might be this week or next week. Oregon and Washington.
They play this weekend.
That's going to be yeah. So that's going to be a game, and then the next.
It was a great game. Yeah.
No, they're playing this coming weekend.
No, Oregon played Washington and Washington won.
No.
I watched it with my own eyes, with both of them.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Well, keep talking. I think the Pac-12 always gets a little bit overrated.
I don't think.
36-33. I apologize. Yeah. So the Huskies, I guess, are the only team there now because they're all pretenders. The Pac-12 is always pretenders.
Bigger pretenders. I think that there's bigger pretenders in the Big Ten than there are in the Pac-12.
You got 2. You got Michigan and Ohio State, right?
Right, and that's it.
And that's it. And then
every year there's no surprises.
There is no surprises. There's always surprises in the Pac-12 because they beat up on each other. They like Utah always fucks someone's bull bid up. USC, UCLA, Oregon, whatever. The Utes always seem to lose to somebody, but then beat someone they shouldn't. Right?
Yeah, Utah's got USC next week, and I hope that Utah just kicks the living shit out of Utah, or Utah kicks the living shit out of USC because that was gross, and it as a fringe football guy, I seen that coming weeks ago. And it came to fruition on Saturday. And that's a storied rivalry. It's been one of the biggest longest rivalries in college sports, right? And it was disappointing to see a game on primetime on NBC to end up that way. And it's a game I look forward to every year. But the biggest frauds in football are the USC Trojans. They aren't good. They're not going to be good. They're not winning anything. It's disappointing, disheartening. But it opens up my Saturdays to just watch games and not fret per se about those games.
Just longing for the days of Pete Carroll and them white shoes coming back, eh?
I actually am.
I bet. It's too bad he had to cheat to win.
He didn't cheat. Reggie got a house. Didn't cheat. Reggie was playing there already. It didn't matter.
This weekend, I'm going to say it out loud, Aaron, at Brutally Honest. I've been visiting with you on the DMs here. I'm not going to buy that Ohio State hat to reverse jinx it because I think the gods will do it. But if Penn State can go to the Horseshoe and knock off the team from the South, fuck, I would love that. Fuck, I hate Ohio State. I just want Ohio State to lose. That's it. And they're like Penn State's been.
I still can't rah shish boom bob for fucking Penn State. I still can't.
I can
No,
because
they're on the fuck them list. There's no getting around that.
Well, that's too bad because it's just too
I mean,
bad.
I'm not an Ohio State apologist either, but like I'm not. It's going to take a long time for me to say go Penn State. Or we are Penn State, wherever they say.
Yeah, we are. That's their little thing. But
we are. Let's keep it down to that many letters so they can't fucking spell. Fucking retards. Whatever.
It wasn't Joe Pa. He just turned a blind eye.
Dave, was there a player this weekend that you just go, what the hell, and say maybe you should give your game check back?
You know what? There really wasn't one of those guys for me this weekend. It was riveting football, but it wasn't good football. If that makes sense, what I'm saying. On a side note, I will say
sloppy sports actually make for good entertainment.
Well, yeah, it was entertaining. So, like, I'm going to give two of them, like Deshaun Watson and Daniel Jones. You're the number one quarterbacks making huge fucking money, and you guys are watching from the bench with a clipboard, and your I don't know what's wrong with you. And your team did really good without you. Like fucking the fact that Cleveland beat San Francisco. Obviously, there was some shenanigans, whatever, but they showed up, and the backups did well, and they covered the spread. So I want Deshaun and Danny Dimes. You two can get back your game checks, even though you didn't play.
I'm going to say Baker Mayfield. He like the division that they're in, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, isn't very good, but he kind of had people talking a little bit about, you know what, he's back and on and go. And since that guy's come in the league, he's been okay, Heisman Trophy winner and everything else, and he's been okay. He's bounced around to a few teams already, but Baker Mayfield, he's fucking shitty. He's shitty. And
I disagree.
He's not. Okay. I shouldn't rank him as shitty because let's go to a different level. He's not good.
He's not elite. But I will say
okay at best.
I'd way rather him be quarterbacking Denver than Krusty right now. Krusty can fuck right off. I'm done with Krusty.
I'm not. It's a gift keeps on giving for me on Mondays. They played Thursday this week, so we don't get to talk about tonight. But yeah,
I know. I love that it gives show fodder, and it's fun listening to Jim and Jalen. Not John. Sorry, Jim and fuck. What's the other guy's name on Two Dudes? They do the Steel and Teal. Not Jalen. Anyways, it's my age. And when they talk about the Broncos, they both. Poor Dave. I feel bad for Dave. And I appreciate that, guys. Boys, I appreciate your pity because I'm living it right here. I'd rather have Baker Mayfield any day over the week over Russ Wilson right now. And as another side of that game, the creamsicle uniforms, bring those motherfuckers back. Tampa Bay Buccaneers may have the worst uniforms in sports in history. Even though those creamsicle uniforms aren't that good, those black and red things are gross too. It's not a good jersey. They don't have a good jersey. Show me a good Tampa Bay Buccaneer jersey. They don't have one.
I'll give you 3 more seconds to figure his name out.
Garrett. I just caught it. Sorry, Garrett. I apologize.
I'm sure he forgets our names too. We're getting old, so we got a lot of stuff going on. Yeah.
Well, no, they remember not my name because I'm a fucking Bronco fan.
Yeah, I like those shirts a lot, but I've had enough of the Baker Mayfield mystique, and it's always quarterbacks who get the bad rap. Dave, one thing we do, I love it. I've had some people that I run into on a weekly basis here around town. They get a kick out of this segment that we got going on here about fuck that team. My brother got a kick out of it. We had a nice talk about the show. He says when we were trying to stop swearing, as much as we do. He says we lost our edge a little bit. He wants us to bring back a couple other things that we'll talk about. But he says that's not who Dave and Brent are, who I've known for over 25 years, and then obviously I've known him for his entire life. He hasn't known me my entire life, but you know what I mean. But he enjoys fuck that team. And I had a guy the other day, what the fuck was it over at Browns? He says, fuck, because I love that fuck that team segment. Fuck him, fuck them, fuck them all. And he said that because one of those things that we talk about. But Dave, who is your fuck that team for this week?
Well, I drafted their starting quarterback as my starter in fantasy, and he's let me down. He was on the bench this weekend, and his team had a chance to win. And I just don't see him winning another fucking game. So fuck you, New York Giants.
Just like that.
Fuck you, New York Giants. Like, you have a chance to win one on the side, and you're just you got your ass humped a couple of times, like the way Dallas treated you earlier on, and it was it Seattle that just pounded you, and now you have a chance to win as a dog. It was the biggest dog of the week, and you had a chance to win. You were up in the game in the fourth quarter, for fuck's sake, and you just can't fucking do it. New York Giants, fuck you.
My this one kind of, I mean, so like if we get to a point like when we declare you're fuck that team, you can't cheer for them anymore. Is that we never did set the ground rules for this when it's all said.
Well, I got the list right here. Like, I'll give it to you if you want it.
No, because I haven't added this. I know for sure this team has not been on the list before. I just want to know if later on in the season, come playoff time,
we can double fuck, I think.
Okay, so my fuck this team this week for sure is the San Francisco 49ers. We were bolting this team up last week. Well, they were the next coming of the San Francisco 49ers of the 1980s and the early 90s there when they were winning with Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and Steve Young at the helm and everything. All it goes. We were touting the praises of Christian McCaffrey and everything else. But I took the San Francisco 49ers this week in the belly up survivor pool, and they lost.
That was a big one. I bet you a lot.
So that's a big one, and so they lose, and they lose a team. They lose a team that they should beat, and then Big Cock Brock his first loss, and then they're complaining about the call and everything else. And so this week, my team for fuck that team is the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, you have a lot less tolerance than I do. Then
I know. That's it. Because I'm a Niner. Like I don't have many. Like I'm a Niners guy. Like I watch the games all the time. They're my team, I guess. But you know what? Fuck that team. I lost the pool because of them. I lost actually 2 pools because of them. Because I would have been in first place in the belly up one, and then I would have been still including the belly up one and the Bulldog one. I'd be in first place, but because the San Francisco 49ers lost. Fuck that team. Fuck them. Fuck them all. Fuck them.
Fuck them. It's fun saying fuck that team, isn't it?
It was funny when Mike says you guys lost your edge when you quit swearing. Like it was for like an hour. It was literally an hour we didn't swear. Like I think you were better than I was for a little bit because I have a rotten mouth since the age of 10. But
you have a rotten mouth. Well, like I remember a couple episodes ago, Jim had to get some C sharps out of there for me, but. Well, when I get hot,
When you hear it rolling, they just come flowing out of the old yap. There's no getting it out of
there. Exactly. You can't turn that volume down immediately.
There's the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, NFL Week 6 in review. We do it our own special way here at the 1420 Sports Bar. Make sure you check us out on YouTube and subscribe to everywhere you listen to the show. Anyways, the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, for beer, sports talk, and a whole lot more. This segment is brought to you by SeatGeek.com. And the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and get yourself to a football game and fuck that team.
Fuck the Giants.
Yeah. They're terrible.
They're awful. And I kind of, you know what? I was close to saying fuck the